Hey guys, I just want to do a very quick impressions video, and I promise when I say pretty quick, um, for the Microsoft E3 conference, which was this evening for me. And I am not going to show any footage. For the last video, it just took me a while to actually get there's so many games that were shown at this conference that I just don't have the time to put that all together, and I want to get this out when it's relevant. I do want to. I don't know if I'm gonna do Bethesda or not. I'll just see what's revealed. Um, but I definitely do want to talk about Microsoft because there are some important things that were shown there, and I was actually very impressed with the conference. One thing that I'll say right off the bat that I loved is that they went very fast. It was a long conference, but they got everything done in a very timely manner. I didn't feel like there was any time that was really wasted. Phil Spencer would come out and talk, you'd have a developer every now and then that would talk, but most of it, I would say 80% of, heck, even 90%, was just game reveals, which is excellent. We saw some very interesting news for current Xbox One titles, especially with the Xbox One X. I don't know how I feel about the name, but that's what it is. And it's going to be interesting to see how this is received, because it's kind of trying to blur the line between PC and console. And it'll be really interesting to see how the markets will react to that and what PlayStation's response will be, because they have to have one. Um, and they're going to really need to bring their A game. So let's talk about some good things that they showed. Number one, that I want to get right off the bat because I know I'll forget, which I think is interesting in general, is Minecraft. So they announced that Minecraft is going to be cross-play compatible across all platforms, meaning I could play on my Switch with people on the phone, or with people on Xbox, or on the Windows 10 version of Minecraft. So pretty neat. If there's any game to really test this out and really do well, it would be Minecraft, because it's pretty inclusive, I guess is the word for it. They're gonna have like their own Sonic Ethers shaders pack that goes with it for, the 4K upgrade. Now, one thing I did notice is the only game where they said, and this is the only game I remember, so I may be wrong. The only game I remember them saying that there will be a consistent 60 frames per second, or that it will be 60 frames per second, was the new Forza game. No other game, they promised 4K, but they didn't promise, or at least mention, a higher frame rate. And I don't know if that's because it's expected or because it's not there. I'm guessing it's not there. Looking at the specifications and considering they're trying to crank out 4K, I honestly am a person who believes in performance over how good something looks. I'd much rather be playing a smooth game than a pretty game. I would love to have both, and you can, but if it came down to the wire, that's what I would choose. And most people, not all, would agree with that. But, I do not expect this to be like a PC machine. I expect it to be console. So they showed, of course, Minecraft. They showed Anthem, which was probably the biggest reveal from BioWare, and I mentioned this in yesterday's video. And it looks a lot. It reminds me a lot of Destiny, and it also reminds me of this game called Dark Void. And if you don't know what that is, I'd recommend looking it up. It was a game that came out on the Xbox 360 several years ago, where you just flew around on a jetpack, kind of like Iron Man. I don't know what to think of it, really. It looks really nice, that's for sure. The facial animations at the beginning were pretty unbelievable. But really, I'll have to see more before I have my full impressions on it. I mean, the gameplay was neat, but it felt a lot like the Division walkthroughs at E3, and we all know how the Division turned out. So, we'll see what happens. We also have Crackdown 3, which is a game that I completely forgot about. They showed several, I think it was 2 E3s ago, if not the last E3, but then they kind of put it away. And I guess they were waiting for the Scorpio or the Xbox One X to come out so they could really push the hardware they were wanting to do with the destructible buildings and stuff. I loved Crackdown. I played very little of Crackdown 2, and I am looking forward to Crackdown 3, and I hope that it is good. A major announcement that I think was very, very cool is that Xbox games, original Xbox titles, will now be backwards compatible with the Xbox One soon. I did not expect that. I don't know anybody who was. That was very interesting news, and I think that it is beneficial. Xbox has been doing very well with their backwards compatibility. It's got it has a great library of games already for the Xbox 360, and of course with the Xbox, that'll open up another library of games. So I do think that's a wise decision, and go Microsoft. Shadow of Mordor, the new one, looks really good. Of course, I'm gonna like that because I like Lord of the Rings. Cool. You know, that's the thing. There's so many games that were shown. They said they showed 42 games, and I'm sure they did. And they really did a good job, especially compared to yesterday's EA Play. I felt like I was really at an E3 again. I felt like I was being shown games. Well, everybody came there for, excuse me, which was to see new titles, new IPs, and for, sequels too. I think it was smart. They showed a wide variety of games. I do think that they showed too many survival/battle royale games. They have PlayerUnknown's Battlegrounds, which is coming to Xbox. Cool, great. But they also showed another game that was a little weird that seemed like it was also a battle royale type game. So that is pretty much all I can think of. Let me look real quick because I don't want to forget anything. All right. So, for E3, we also have Sea of Thieves, which is this pirate game being released by Rare. And I've been keeping a close eye on it because I thought it looked really interesting. And it looks like it will be. It looks kind of like a shared multiplayer experience. A little bit like Destiny or Journey. It's the best examples I can think of. And it looks fun. I don't know how long it will last, longevity-wise, but it'll last. I did think it was interesting that they revealed a new Assassin's Creed during the Microsoft conference. Now, this is probably the boast about, the power of the Xbox One X, obviously, but I'm shocked that it wasn't revealed at the Ubisoft conference, and it may be further discussed. But I do like the direction they're taking. I personally have gotten tired of the Assassin's Creed games, and I don't see myself picking this up, but I do like the theme. I think it's a step in the right direction to go back in time to ancient Egypt. I think it's interesting. And it seems to have a little bit more fantasy elements in it, which is kind of neat. So, good for them. And that's all I can think of. They had the new Ori game coming out, Ori and the Will of the Wisps, which looks emotional and gorgeous. The games they showed were absolutely gorgeous. Some of those indie titles, The Last Night, I think that's what it was called. That game looked amazing. It was like that cyberpunk platformer looking game. Really cool. So I'm really excited to see. That's Yon 3. Um, I'm just I was pleasantly surprised by this conference. That's my final verdict on it. I thought it was really good. Really enjoyed it. They're doing good things at Microsoft. Um, and I'm interested to see what Sony's lineup will be. Because they're going to need to bring it. But anyways, guys, that's my very first impressions on the Xbox One or the Microsoft conference. Um, Again, I want to make this way shorter than the first video on EA Play because number one, I want to have this released by the morning, and I'm running out of time before the morning, and there's no way I could. I mean, I got a lot of the trailer footage for EA Play because they didn't show that many games. With this, I would be getting different footage from all these different games like Metro, the new Metro game, which looked cool, the new, of course, Minecraft, of course, they didn't show Halo, which I expected to see Halo, but that's probably a good thing. I would like for them to kind of slow down on Halo. But anyways, guys, that was my first impressions. I've been Sir Awesome, and this has been another E3 impression video. I'll see you later, guys. Adios.